Alrighty, YouTube, good morning to you all here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. And we've got some updates here for you guys this morning. We've got a tropics update here. We're still watching Tropical Storm Humberto and Hurricane Imelda expected to actually merge here and move its way over Bermuda in the next day or two, moving away from the East Coast. We're really not seeing any more impacts on the East Coast anymore. Those impacts are pretty much diminished as the system continues to pull to the east. We've also got the chance for some warmer weather here. A heat wave across the United States is going to be the biggest conversation this week, and then the return for potentially severe weather, maybe snow, maybe even some of the coldest air since the beginning of last year, coming down as we go toward the middle portions of October. And we're also watching for homegrown tropical systems in the Caribbean Gulf and maybe even out toward the major development region here, our main development region. So we're going to break all that down here, talk about our forecast. This will probably be a pretty brief video since there's not a lot to talk about today in terms of really anything impact wise in the United States other than a heat wave. So we'll break that down, kind of look in the long-term range here. If you guys will, as always, hit that subscribe button in the bottom of your screen and hit the bell notifications for those notifications as always. And we'll go ahead and dive right into this here. And you guys can see on satellite imagery here this morning, we do have Hurricane Imelda here expected to become a Category 2 hurricane and make a barrel roll towards Bermuda here later on this afternoon into tomorrow morning here. You can see Humberto very much caught up in a subtropical jet stream, getting ripped apart here. And eventually Imelda is going to kind of merge here with this system, and then they will both work their ways out to sea here. So we're not expecting, other than Bermuda having impacts. If you're in Bermuda, definitely have your safe place, and definitely know there is a hurricane coming your direction here, so definitely be preparing for that. I'm pretty sure most people are prepared if there are people over there with that area. But we'll be watching the system move out to sea here very soon. Outside of that, there, looking in the Gulf, also watching a little disturbance maybe starting to enter the picture down here on the bottom right of the screen. Not quite yet in view, but we'll have to watch for that wave to see if that wave does anything. The National Hurricane Center not quite yet having anything highlighted yet in terms of the hurricane potential going into next week and the week beyond. We take a look here at the National Hurricane Center map. There is Humberto and Imelda. Both of these are at tropical storm status and hurricane status here. Humberto at 979 millibars with the wind speeds at 80 miles per hour, moving northeast at 14, and then getting tangled up with a frontal boundary here very soon. Going to basically disorganize this system after tomorrow. And then we have Hurricane Imelda, almost Category 2 hurricane, about 5 mile per hour wind shy of that, expected to become a Cat 2 hurricane by later on this afternoon. Pressure down to 974, moving east northeast at 21 miles per hour. And here is that cone from Imelda. We can see hurricane warnings in effect for Bermuda, expecting to make landfall by tomorrow morning. Early tomorrow morning, and then eventually it will be moving its way out to sea here, and eventually actually maybe getting tangled up with that jet stream as well, and then eventually moving up towards the north central Atlantic. So we'll have to keep an eye on this in terms of the long-term future for other countries, but if anything more to happen, we'll keep you guys updated on that there. But Bermuda being the main issue in terms of where these impacts are going to be at here over the next couple of days. And right now the National Hurricane Center does not have anything else quite yet highlighted in terms of areas to watch, but I do think something will be coming up here soon, as well as something down here in the Caribbean eventually soon as well. We'll have to watch for a couple systems as we get through the month of October. It is known for producing tropical systems in and around our home area here as we go into the month of October. So we'll keep you guys updated if anything changes with that. Taking a look at those ensembles here, we can see pretty decent guidance here on where we're going to potentially see another wave at, maybe a second wave behind this here as we go into next week. Next week will be the wave to watch. Really toward the end of this weekend into next week, we'll be watching a wave. So the National Hurricane Center will probably highlight something here soon. And then also still seeing a couple models here and some ensembles signal something in the Caribbean and the Gulf into the future here. And we'll keep you guys updated if anything changes with that there. That is the latest on the European ensembles here. We'll have to watch and see where this potential system could go to. GFS ensemble is also showing that wave as well, potentially having this a little bit lower or further to the north here. A big spread on where this system could go once it comes off the coast. Actually, it's already off the coast of Africa once it gets going as we go toward the end of the work week here. And then also picking up on some type of development down here in the Caribbean and in the Gulf as well. We'll keep you guys updated on that. And Google Deep AI Mine also showing the same system as well. So pretty good guidance on that we're going to get our next name system more than likely here in the future. That next name storm will be Jerry. And then some of the AIs here also simulating potentially something or showing something here closer to home as we go toward the end of this week and next week. So a lot of little things to watch for. We get these cold fronts that come off the coast here that sometimes stall out, that can give us some lows that spin up, sometimes turning to tropical or, just broadening out and staying as a low. So something we have to watch for here, but we also will be watching for what more than likely will become our next name storm, potentially Jerry, coming here in the future as we go into next week. So we'll be watching that system once again. The general pattern and the steering flow for this year here has mostly been systems curving out to sea or getting very close and going out to sea. So hopefully we keep that trend, although some of the models have that, some of the models don't. If anything changes or if we get any updates on that, I'll do a special video for you guys here as always. So that's our tropics update. Let's go ahead and talk globally of what's going to be happening here over the next couple of days here. And we can see not a lot going on here other than our two tropical systems. We do have that new jet stream that's going to be entering the picture here as we go into Thursday and Friday. There's also a chance we could see this little shortwave trough exit the Rockies here. There's actually going to be some pretty cold air that comes in behind this here, some below average temperatures potentially over here in the west, and as well as warmer temperatures. We can see that ridge in place here, allowing for just really, really warm temperatures. It's going to feel almost like the end of summer here as we go toward the rest of the weekend, or going toward the rest of this week into next weekend. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Temperatures will definitely be in the 80s and the 90s, even some warmer temperatures than that. But we do need to watch as this trough exits the Rockies on Saturday and into Sunday. We could see a little shot at a chance of severe weather somewhere up here into the northern high plains. I don't think it's going to be anything too big. Typically, we'd have more severe weather associated with these troughs. We just don't have a lot of instability to work with right now with this system. So that's kind of round one there. And then as we go towards next week, there are going to be a lot of changes, potentially some below average temperatures coming for the northern Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast next week. Maybe even a tropical system or hurricane down here towards Baja California, another shortwave trough here. So what I'm getting at, guys, is enjoy the rest of this week, because as we go into the weekend and next week, things are going to change. And the GFS model here been really, really consistent on showing a major cold Arctic air mass potentially coming down as we go toward the end of next week. A little too far out to get certain on that, but this could bring some of the coldest air we've seen in a long time. And I'm talking since the beginning of this year. We've had some cold air masses come down over the last couple of weeks here, kind of hit and miss here, but this could bring our first like 30, 20, and maybe teen temperatures as we go into next week here. So something that we're watching here. The models have definitely been pretty consistently, so GFS has here. The Euro does show it, but a little bit weaker, and maybe even a potential, snow with some of the system here somewhere up into like Montana, Wyoming, up toward the northern high plains, and maybe even some severe weather associated. So what I'm getting at, guys, is we have a lot of pattern changes coming, and we're going to continue to talk about this as we go through the next couple of days here. Here's those temperature anomalies here showing that ridge being in place, very warm temperatures. And then as we go toward the beginning of next week, we're going to see this little cold air pocket come down from Canada here, maybe affecting the Ohio Valley in the Northeast. And then after that, a little bit more ridging. And then take a look at this. This is something that will be very interesting to watch here. Potentially a 15 to 20 degree below average temperature drop coming into that second week of October, and it will definitely feel like fall if this were to verify here. So something we're going to watch very closely here. People are harvesting, there's crops out there. This will definitely be a potential issue for that into the future if this were to verify. So we'll keep you guys updated if anything were to trend, but this is definitely something we're watching for, and the models have definitely been trending toward the favor of this as we go towards next week. And this is about over 11 days out, so kind of in la land, but not when we're looking at a temperature outlook thing. So we'll keep you guys updated if anything changes with that. I do want to take a look at those but those rainfall totals here in the next 7 to 10 days, and we'll kind of just look at that and see what we're looking at. And really not a lot of rain other than down here in the southeast and in towards Florida, where we are going to have some tropical moisture kind of hanging around here as Imelda pushes off. We're going to have another broad low that could set up here. Some of the models are showing some heavy rainfall down here in eastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and even eastern Florida, where we could see anywhere from 4 to 10 inches of rainfall fall through the next couple of days. And then some pockets of heavier rainfall up here, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall across portions of the Midwest, up here toward the higher plains, as we see some new storm systems kind of emerge here toward the weekend. So we'll keep you guys updated. Definitely stay dry down there in Florida. It's going to be a wet one for the next couple of days. Definitely going to need that umbrella. We'll keep you guys updated with any severe weather, tropics, and temperature outlooks over the next couple of days. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you guys in the next one.